Hey everybody, Yogi Chevy here, and welcome to my yoga mat. So I'm going to be giving you the first part of my pretty much daily yoga practice. And so, when I start practicing, the first thing I want to do is just kind of sense where I'm at, where my body is. I'll usually come to a sitting position right in the middle of my mat. And here I just want to set an intention for what I'm going to practice for today. Like, what do I want to get out of this practice? And for me, this old yogi has always been the same thing. When I come to my mat, my intention is always this. I just want my body just to be a vessel, and a vessel of worship, and a vessel of health and wellness. And that is my intention. And however that shows up, I am grateful for it. So in that, I'm going to seal that intention with a few breaths. And I love starting my practice with some box breathing. And what box breathing is it's just it's a 5-second inhale. I'm going to hold my breath for 5 seconds. I'm going to exhale for 5 seconds. I'm going to hold my breath for 5 seconds. And I'm going to do maybe two rounds of that. And if you want to do that with me, you can. And we'll do that, starting right now. So exhaling. Holding. Inhaling. Holding. Exhaling. Holding. Inhaling. Holding. And let's just do a few of those on our own. And so as you guys are focusing on that breathing, I just want to share with you some really important aspects of breath when we're talking about yoga and our yoga practice. And once I start coming to my mat and actually practicing, I'm really focused on what's called Ujjayi breathing, which is breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And we're restricting the nasal passages in the back. And on our next exhale, let's just come to the center of our mat. We're going to come up into tabletop. One of the staples of my yoga practice is obviously my hands and my feet, my wrists and my ankles. And that, I really am cognizant of that connection to my mat, obviously, because it's for me, it's my most important connection. And as I start to focus on that, and as I'm starting to focus on my breathing, I want to give my wrists and my ankles and my toes and my fingers and my hands and my feet and my heels just the love that they need. So we're going to start this class right now with just coming to a tabletop position, and let's just work out our wrists for a little bit. And we're just going to make circles going in and out. And just relaxing, focusing on your breathing, in through the nose, out by the nose. And let's just start to reverse that circling We can mix them up if we want a little bit. You know, this is like a really important part of my practice. My hands are so important, you know, and as a middle-aged man, you know, I spent a long time doing a lot of damage and just not paying any attention to my hands whatsoever. And so as I started to really focus on a yoga practice, it was like I really have developed this particular practice of just really taking the time to work out on my hands and my fingers. So let's take our hands now and let's point them in towards our knees. Let's just do this whole thing. Just go in circles. Circle it out one way, circle it out the other. And as I started to explore this, I had a couple of teachers that were really cool with just like starting to show us like hand finger workouts. And one of the things that I'll do is I'll use, I think of it as like downward facing dog with my fingers. And if you guys don't know what downward facing dog is, you're certainly going to learn that very soon. But for me, it's like that's what I think of as an analogy that I do with my fingers. Let's take our fingers and we're going to point them in towards each other. And I think of these as like hand or finger mudras, and I work out my fingers all the time as I'm on my mat. So one thing I can do is just dig in my fingers, lift my fingers. It's like I'm doing little tiny down dogs with each of my fingers and then pressing down on my palms. Now, this is painful as we first start to learn to do this, but it's a really great exercise just for me, just to get into my fingers and just give my fingers some love. And this little guy has like problems. I'll move this up to the front of the mat so you guys can kind of see how I can like force my fingers into these down dogs, and then you're pressing down on your palm. This finger's like to behave a little bit more. Right, and I'll just rock back and forth in these. Go gentle. These hurt, guys. You know, take your time. We're just showing our fingers some love. You know, I'm going to kind of come more in at an angle, straighten them out. And I'll also take this time just to start to maybe coming up into a plank position as I'm doing these. Circle this in and out. Come back. We can always just stay doing this in our tabletop positions. Let's point our hands out. Go back and forth. And so as we're pointing our fingertips out and coming back and forth, I want to point out what I'm doing with my feet right now. I'll open up my hands a little bit. So I'm like, not only do I want to work out on my hands during this time period, but I want to work out on my feet and my toes. And I can take this time to like come into a couple of variations of like a forward fold, but just giving my hands some attention. And so as we get stronger and our hands get stronger, maybe we can kind of come up to a standing position as we do some of these wrist workouts. You know, even just coming straight here. Help a little brother out. Pressing down. There we go. Very good. Really good, guys. All right, let's let our fingers straighten those out. Start to rock back and forth just a little bit. Take our weight off our hands. Start to give our hands a little bit of love. The next part of this is we're going to work on our hands and our feet, and we're going to come into a pose called Pada Uttanasana, which is a forward fold, and I'm actually standing on my palms, and I can just sit here like this, you know, like in a low lunge type of position, and just really work on my hands and on my toes, right? Coming back and forth, you know, kind of mashing them in. I can come into actual Pada Ustasana, which is like, this is like kind of standing position like that, right? We can do this really bent legs, and I can collapse my stomach area, really push my stomach up against my thighs and pressing in with my arms as I'm coming down. You know, this is one of my favorite postures ever. You know, just as a nice inversion. And we can also just hang here and relax. You know, more advanced versions of this pose is where we come more and more up and onto our hands, and we're putting our weight in our toes and just starting to lift our heels off of the ground. But it's like risky because I'm just going to fall right over onto my face. So although my face could probably, you know, withstand a few poundings like that and not get hurt, most people don't want to do that. But yeah, you know. Anyway, oh, let's stretch that out, people. Oh, feel it, like really stretch, stretch, stretch. This is a great place to do like cat-cow too, where I'm like cat spine, where I'm like really arching my back, and then cow-cow, where it's like I'm like, it's almost like back bending here, right? And always working to like straighten up my legs. Let's come out of this slow. How wonderful is that? Let's come to kneeling. Good job, guys. Let's give ourselves a little bit more love on this side. All right. That was awesome, guys. You're awesome. You're like really ready to start doing some Sun A salutations. So if you guys want to continue on your own, I really will implore you to do that. What I would do right now is break into my sequences of Sun A and Sun C, and then I usually do Sun B, but that's just for this old yogi. That's how I like to do it. But if you guys want to continue to do that, that would be great. I hope you guys continue on with me. So the next part of this, I am going to be breaking out a Sun Salutation A, and we will be working on one movement, one breath. And if you could like and share this, this would be awesome. And namaste, people. Love you. Bye.